I don't get too far into the weeds with, pHs and all the scientific stuff with the soils. I just, can, if something's not working, I try something different,
Sure.
but I've been pretty successful with it for the last 3 or 4 years. We produce a ton of vegetables. We give away stuff. We have, I got enough canned tomatoes to make pasta for the next, 4 or 5 years.
Inside of the city, the people are crazy, out of their minds, they ain't got a clue. We gone away, headed west for Montana, left family and friends, all I got now is you. We both got new jobs, a house and a homestead, thinking this was the life, all that there'd be. After our firstborn, you had to stay home. That's when the work got in the way for me. Well, I started FarmHopLife. We'll come to your farm to help and to wander. Me and the family, a truck and an RV. Send us a message and there will be.
This is the Farm Hop Life podcast, a traveling homestead family. I'm Matt DeRozier. Today, my guest is BowTiedScapeGoat on Twitter. He has raised 2 boys and have 3 stepchildren. He's been in the landscaping trade for 20 plus years. He is a small landscaping business owner. He started in 2008. He has a few real estate holdings. He runs Airbnbs in Puerto Rico, has a large part of land in northern Appalachia, grows super hot peppers from seeds, starting them indoors. He has 2 raised garden beds to provide for his family, and he lives in the suburbs, so it's a small space, but he has high yields. So this is interesting. Doing a lot with a little. I like that. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, man. So, man, that's a lot of stuff. I don't even know where to start. I guess let's start about the Airbnbs in Puerto Rico. I know that's usually not the first question to ask, but that's unique. How'd you get into that?
So, my wife's family is actually from the island, and she was adopted when she was a baby, and right at birth. So she never knew her biological parents. Well, she did the whole ancestry thing, got some results back, and got in contact with her family just probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and found out that her dad was from Puerto Rico. Believe it or not. So she went down there and met the whole family. She has a giant family on the island, and we have a blessed situation. We both have good jobs and all that. So she said, I'd like to buy a house down here and come down, visit my family and everything. And my idea was, well, let's try and turn it into a business, because we're only going to be down there, a couple of weeks out of the year, maybe. So we ended up buying a place near the beach, and I stayed down there for like 3 or 4 weeks, sporadically, not all, continuous, but just kind of work out the kinks in the house and see what people would want and all that. So turned it into the Airbnb, and it just took off from there. And right when we were just starting to really break ground and get reviews and renters and stuff like that, that's when COVID hit, and it kind of wiped out the whole travel thing. But as soon as the restrictions were lifted, it was like an explosion of people just wanting to get the heck out of town, get away for, a couple days or a week with their family. So it really took off in later 2021, I guess it was, or 2020, after the restrictions and stuff were being lifted. So we did we did really well with it. And it actually got to the point where the house was rented out so much that we had to really plan to go ahead, far in advance to go down there. So
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually just turned that one into a full-time rental and bought ourselves another condo that we're eventually going to rent that one out as well when we do the renovations.
Nice.
So
you guys do all the work yourselves then?
We have a lot of friends and stuff that I really networked with people once we bought the first house down there, just because I'm going to be a couple thousand miles away. I'm going to need people that I can rely on and trust. And so we made a lot of good friends down there, people that have really become family. And they have a very large network of people on the island that, we do some of the work ourselves, but, the heavy stuff because we only go down there for maybe a week, 10 days at the most right now, because we still have kids in high school. But that's the goal is to go down there and spend at least winters and stuff down there when it's so cold and frigid up here in the north. But,
sure.
But yeah, we hire out a lot of the stuff to do, especially on the rental property.
Right. What's buying property in Puerto Rico like? Is it easy? Is it cheap? Is it just walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, so I would say we got in right before like all the boom of the real estate and stuff. It wasn't that far, far after when Maria hit the island, which devastated the island. The people of Puerto Rico are some of the most resilient people that I've ever seen, just because they went without power island wide for almost a whole year. And it was just a community coming together, helping one another out. And, unfortunately, a lot of people did just basically walk away from their houses and go move to the States. And so there was a lot of abandoned properties and, just stuff that wasn't being taken care of. Took up, and I think insurance money just started coming in maybe a year and a half ago, year ago from 2016, was it? Or 17.
Yes, I don't remember.
So yeah, but it's it's building back up. It's become a vibrant tourist spot again. And a lot of with like cryptocurrency and stuff like that, there's a lot of people moving down there for the tax havens as well.
Sure.
There's a couple of different acts and stuff like that is designed to attract wealth down to the island. So, and I had no idea about any of that stuff until after were 2 or 3 years into owning our first property there, which is interesting. There is a lot of expatriates there. A lot of people that are from the States all over, the continental U.S. That moved down there permanently. So
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Last question about Puerto Rico. How is their power generated? Do you know?
I'm not exactly sure. It might be a coal-fired power plant that they use. They did have some giant windmills up generating electricity, but Maria wiped a lot of them out, and they're just kind of laying there, not doing anything right now. But the power grid is sketchy because everything's connected. It's all centralized to one place. So if one substation goes out, it takes out a couple neighboring ones or stuff like that. And I've been down there where I've been without power for 24, 48 hours before, but never really longer than that. The infrastructure system, it's not like here in the States, like, you could possibly lose water, depending on where you're at, or if they're working on a line somewhere, or, just because everything's so centralized, especially with the power. But, I've never had a major issue with it. The last time I was down there, I think we lost it for, little over 48 hours. So the end of our trip, we were without power the whole time.
Dang.
Yeah. But what, and the people down there, like people here in the States would be freaking out. Everybody's running generators and shit.
No kidding.
Down there, everybody's like, all right, well, we'll just go to the beach, So, I mean, it's not a very big island. No matter where you are on the island, you're not more than, half hour, 45 minutes from, the coast.
Sure. You're like, oh, darn, I can't do any work. I guess I'll go to the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a much more laid back society that way than here in the States. You get the hustle bustle, especially in the big cities and stuff.
That must just drive you crazy, the laid backness.
Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of sound like it though, because you sound like you hustle pretty hard. Being having your fingers in a lot of pies. Doesn't sound like you take it easy.
Well, I mean, it's a balancing act, and I've hustled for, I've been in business for 15, 16 years for myself. And it's in the beginning, it was a big time grind, and you just become like a well-oiled machine, and your processes and operations just kind of roll themselves, with minimal effort. So it's definitely a balancing act that you have to do with it. I do have my chill time where I don't really do anything work related, and with the Airbnbs, that's kind of easy. I can operate that from my couch here,
Sure.
and I don't even need to have a host. I can, I have an electronic deadbolt. I have lock boxes for keys and stuff like that, and backups to my processes. So I don't have to worry about, okay, this one didn't work. Okay, well, there's a backup. And that's something that I learned in the landscaping business. You need to have two of everything. You need to have a backup to your backup. And, I mean, you know how it is. Stuff just goes wrong, and, you have to improvise. And prepare for it. So, but yeah, I definitely have my chill time, That's why I'm like a night owl. That's when I try and shut my mind, my body down, and just kind of relax and reflect on the day and all that.
Sure. Yeah, I get it. You can't be, you'd get burned out quick. So
yeah. And I'm sorry. I was going to say, like with landscaping, it's seasonal too. So I have, a couple months to recoup my body, which I do. I kind of hibernate like a bear in the wintertime. Grow my beard long, and don't want to talk to nobody. I let all my phone calls go to voicemail.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the being prepared. Is that how you got started homesteading?
Yes and no. Like, I mean, COVID was a huge wake up call, but with my background in landscaping, I knew how to grow stuff. I never had a vegetable garden. I think in my bio in the questions and stuff to you, I put that, I'm married. I was married, divorced, remarried now. And it was really after my divorce that I started, when I started dating my wife now, she's been growing food since she was in her 20s, out of necessity, because she was poor growing up. So, while her kids were growing up, so she had to grow her own food to feed everybody. And it was just a little hobby that she liked to do. And with my background in landscaping, we kind of put our heads together, and I built she was actually a customer before we got married. And
really?
Yeah, I do. Wild story.
Let's hear it.
What's that?
Let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, so we've been friends for I would say 15 years. Our kids played baseball together. I coached both, her son and my son in Little League baseball. She went through a divorce, and she became a customer of mine. I was cutting her grass and doing a landscaping and odd jobs and stuff for her. But we also vacationed together with our kids and families and stuff. And, she went through a divorce, and then, 4 or 5 years later, I went through my divorce, and, it was cool because we didn't have to start from scratch, and it was very organic. It was just, we got together, we were talking one night, and, about things that we both went through in our divorces. And, we always kind of had a connection, but we were in relationships. So, that's, we don't go there. But now that we were both free of that, it just, there was a spark there, and it just went off from there.
You could sell the rights to that for like a movie or something.
Yeah, if I could. And even my wife's story is amazing too. She was young when she had her first child, and put herself through. She finished high school with a kid, put herself through a college, graduated with distinction in college. Started her corporate career. She was on food stamps and stuff like that. Like I was telling you, she was growing her own food. And now she's a very, very successful woman in the corporate world, executive level. So,
dang, man, good for her.
Her story is like amazing. We always talk about it that, she's not good at writing, but I could write one hell of a story for her, knowing it all.
Sure.
And, and then meeting her dad later on in life and all that. I mean, it's just a combination of things. And it's, when you meet people, you can kind of see the power that they hold, just looking in somebody's eyes, really. And, I saw that in her the first time I met her, 15, 20 years ago. Luck just seems to fall around her. And, when you're a good person, good things happen. And, when you keep a positive perspective, when things aren't going good, eventually they turn into good things. And, as long as you keep that positive attitude and outlook on things.
Yeah.
So
that's how you got started into homesteading. I mean, through your wife, more or less. So what motivates you to grow your own food?
So it was, just all the processed foods and, chemicals they use in commercial growing and agricultural and stuff like that. This way we know what's in our food. Now, we're not completely self-sufficient. Like we still go to the grocery store for certain vegetables and fruits and stuff like that we don't grow. But majority of our food is all homegrown, home cooked meals. And I mean, I've never felt healthier in my entire life. And, I'm over the hill. So it's, but in my first marriage, like I didn't eat well, and it really affects your mood. It affects your health, your stamina, all that. So, we started growing our own food, and it became a hobby that we would do together, with a good benefit of, knowing what's in our food. But we also make a lot of stuff. We preserve and can a lot of our veggies. So nothing really goes to waste. We make spicy jellies because I grow super hot peppers that I got into. After the first year of me and her being together, I got into growing the peppers. And it started out with like 3 or 4 pepper plants. Last year I had over 100 pepper plants, and I grew them all in pots, like 5-gallon, 10-gallon pots. So, and that's why I'm putting the garden extension in this year, so I can have a spot just for my peppers, because I didn't get them out early enough last year because I started them from seed, but I started a little bit too late. This year I'm way ahead of the game. So
nice.
last year I only got like maybe 1.5 harvest out of the peppers, where, this year I'll probably get 3.
Nice. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
What do you when you say that you're way ahead this year and you might get 3 harvests out of them? What did you do different?
Well, I basically just started them a whole lot earlier inside. So
Okay.
I have a powerful grow light, and I use the Jiffy Pods, the expandable.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I started last year. I didn't get started until March, maybe. Trying to germinate the seeds. And with peppers, they take a little bit longer. They're a little slower to get started. So you really got to start them in like January if you're doing inside.
Did you ever get your peppers tested, like Scoville scale, or no?
I never did. No. So
I'm curious to you.
The last 2 years, I've just been dehydrating them and using them in jellies and sauces and stuff. But I'd like to go down the rabbit hole of hot sauces and see how hot they are.
That'd be sweet.
So I haven't gotten that far yet. It's just kind of it was a hobby that morphed into this obsession now.
Sure. I just have for lunch I do ham and cheese, no bread, no mayo, just take a slice of cheese, fold it in half a couple times, like roll a slice of ham around it. And my wife, early in the pregnancy, she got like this hot honey stuff. Uh-huh. And I think it's just honey with like cayenne pepper in it or something like that. And I actually had to dilute it. It was too hot for me. I'm kind of a wimp, but I'm a Midwestern. Like for some people, like ketchup is too spicy. So, but anyways, I do just a little bit of that hot honey on my ham and cheese, and it's pretty dang good. So you should team up with BowTied Farmer and get some of his honey. You do your peppers and see how it turns out.
Yeah. We've actually talked about that because
really,
yeah, me and him have become kind of good friends on online and everything. So
yeah,
and he's actually part of that group that we're trying to build something together with.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, we joke about it all the time. And it's like post physique of our gardens. We got to show them off to each other.
That's right.
But,
man, that's so cool. Yeah, you guys are just like promoting each other's thing, or like, hey, that's awesome, looks awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah, and Farmer's a great guy. He's a super good guy. I miss Farmer too. And I've learned stuff from him. He's learned stuff from me. So it's like a perfect relationship, friendship that we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and hey, this worked for me, that didn't work.
Yeah. So what in your garden, what kind of like practices or methods, techniques are you using? I see that you said that you have raised beds. Why did you choose raised beds?
So I did the raised beds because we have heavy like red clay soil in my area.
Okay.
So it really holds that water, and it tightens up in the summertime and stuff too. So I was like, well, we'll just instead of trying to amend the ground that's there, I'll just build up. I only did one tier up of the 6x6s.
Okay.
And then just filled it with my compost soil and, mushroom soil and everything. So, but it really helps keep it up out of the ground so you can control the moisture to it.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to water a little bit more, but the last couple of years we've had ample rain where I barely had to turn my sprinkler on.
Nice. So what else do you do besides like the raised beds for, to be able to finely tune like the soil, you're not working so hard just to.
So like I mainly use mushroom soil.
And what does that mean? I've never heard that.
So mushroom soil, it's like kind of a pasteurization process they do of the soil, and it's used for growing mushrooms. Super nutrient, black, dark, loose soil, and it's just packed with the nutrients it needs. You do have to. I mean, I've read a couple varying things on it, where you have to add stuff to the soil to get your levels right for all the nutrients and stuff. But I just till it in, and just add fresh stuff to it every year, and it's fine. I have no problems. The plants grow really well. It's probably a tiny bit acidic, soil, so you got to be careful of what you're putting in there, and
Sure.
but like they used to sell it as you get fresh mushroom soil, which was like super hot soil with nitrogen and everything. So it could burn the plants and everything, but
Yeah,
they don't sell the age stuff anymore. So it's kind of, it's not as powerful when it comes, when you put it in your gardens.
is it expensive?
I pay about $24 a yard for it, cubic yard.
Holy smokes,
Yeah.
that sounds expensive.
I mean, a cubic yard that's going to do about 100 square feet, 1 or 2 inches thick. A
Okay.
couple inches thick. So, it's costly for the initial cost building your gardens, but maintaining them, you just throw a yard or two on top of it, and you're good to go. And you can get it in bags and stuff, but
Just local garden center.
you might be
Place?
able to find it in garden centers. You'd have to Google around to find it, but I have a mulch yard right by my house, and I know just from dealing with them for the last 20 years in landscaping that we use it on trees, shrubs, flower beds, and all that. So, I knew to try use that, and then I could get it in bulk too.
Oh, nice.
And I had the truck and everything to where I could go just pick it up and shovel it out of my truck. Because I have a dump bed that raises up, makes it easy.
Nice.
So,
what have you, other than the mushroom soil, what have you tried that has worked well?
so like I've done, with my background and everything, I knew how to take care of the plants and stuff like that, watering and because that's like a big thing for people just starting out. Like, well, when do I water? Well, when it needs it. That's just common sense to me, like I can tell. But the peppers did really well. I did them in fabric pots last year, and what that does is the air pruning, because it's a fabric pot, more oxygen getting to the roots. So they basically prune themselves. They don't do the whole spiral thing around the plastic pots. But you have to water them more often.
Sure.
And I already have a lot of worms and stuff in the soil here, so that really helps with keeping everything balanced and nutrient rich in the soil. Our tomatoes and cucumbers go crazy every year. But I also have like trellises and stuff too, like for pole beans. I got them for cucumbers, and we just kind of like jam pack our garden. So it's a pretty basic setup. I don't get too far into the weeds with pHs and all the scientific stuff with the soils. I just if something's not working, I try something different.
Sure.
But I've been pretty successful with it for the last 3 or 4 years. We produce a ton of vegetables. We give away stuff. We have, I got enough canned tomatoes to make pasta for the next, 4 or 5 years.
That sounds like a lot. Do you have a special variety of tomato that you like best for canning?
So we like the Roma tomatoes. The San Marzanos are pretty good. We got the old school Roma tomatoes this year, so I'm kind of eager. The nice thing about the San Marzano is they're a little bit tougher on the skin, so they're easier for like cutting and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I mean, we just throw everything into the blender if we're using it for the canned tomatoes for our sauce base. But beefsteak tomatoes, I think we grew Early Girls last year. I think that was the name of them. My wife's better with a lot of the names than I am. I'm just like, yeah, let's just grow whatever. Pick out what you want.
Sure.
But yeah, and then we planted 2 cherry tomatoes last year, and one was a sun-kissed cherry, so they're like more orange, and they were fantastic. They were much sweeter than the regular just cherry grape tomatoes, and so we decided to plant just one of them this year because we just had too many. So many rotted on the vine that it was kind of a waste taking up space in the garden.
Sure. Yeah. What have you tried that didn't work or failed?
Well, this year's been garlic for me. It was my first time trying to grow garlic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I didn't do it right or what, but I didn't have any success with that so far this year. And I don't know if something got in there and ate, because I had a problem with voles last year.
Oh,
they got in there, and ate, just ate the, little seeds or pieces of garlic that I was trying to grow. But I couldn't even find the pieces that I put in there. I dug around, they're not even there. So,
that's a bummer.
Yeah. So, what's that?
When's your last frost date? Like, when did you put plants in the ground outside?
So I was a little bit behind because the weather was terrible this year. Usually my area is like Mother's Day is the perfect day to plant.
Okay.
The first week of May, you don't have to worry about frost anymore. But we did have a late frost. I want to say late April, early May. We did have a frost. So if you put your garden in early, you're going to have to take precautions to get out there, protect everything and all that. But I usually just wait until I know, I'll look in the 7-day forecast and be like, okay, we're good. It's going to be in the 70s. It's not going to drop down to, 32 again.
Right.
So, but it's right in the beginning of May is when we can put stuff in the ground.
I was just curious how established your garden is so far, because I'm seeing a bunch of pictures in some of our media. Man, how is their stuff already? They're already picking strawberries almost, and I'm like, I just got my stuff in the ground 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that, just
and that's I'm kind of freaking out because I still have to. All I have to do is put soil into the garden extension I'm making, and it's basically doubling the size of the garden for the peppers. And I'm stressing out because I'm like, it's they need to get it in the ground. We're in June already, So, but yeah, we're producing strawberries already. I have a couple of herb boxes, herb tables with that one that I grow strawberries in. Another one that I'm growing lettuce, spinach, and some radishes in. And then the other ones like basil, rosemary, thyme, cilantro, all that good stuff for the herbs. So, I mean, basically everything that we use to cook a meal comes from here, except for the meat, for cooking chicken. We get it from the store. So, I mean, it's really cool. We both enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in the kitchen making this stuff together. So it's good all around. You're giving yourself healthier foods, and you're spending quality time with your family doing it. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is that I get to spend time with my wife, and it's like we're both into it. And we'll put the music on, open a bottle of wine, we'll be dancing around the kitchen, slicing up tomatoes. Or
you guys are like a movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's we both went through shitty situations with our divorces and stuff, and life rewards you when you come out of that, because that can really beat you up, going through a divorce and trying to start over after that. And I mean, it really is it's a fairy tale ending for both of us. And I couldn't be happy. I'm the happiest I've been in my entire life,
awesome,
going back to as a kid. So it all we're into the same things. We like the outdoors. We like growing food and plants, flowers, and that sort of thing. So it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I have a good life, man. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I have a really good life.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So, what has been the biggest challenge in homesteading that you faced?
So the biggest challenge has been space, actually. We live in the suburbs. Our house, our yard is, less than half an acre. I'd say probably about closer to a third of an acre. Our backyard is fenced in for our dogs, and that's only, I want to say maybe 80 by 60.
Okay.
So it's not real big, and we have a pool and a patio that takes up most of that space. So that's why we have the small raised garden beds, and the space has been the biggest challenge for me. That and dealing with pests,
Okay.
because you don't want to spray everything with chemicals and stuff like that. So, last year we had squash bugs that took out all of our squash plants, so we didn't really get any harvest from that. And the cucumbers, I think it was too wet of a year for them because they were just not. They produced really well in the beginning of the season, but after that first harvest, that first run, they were like terrible. The cucumbers weren't good. They were kind of bitter and hard. So we ended up just taking them out halfway through the summer because they weren't doing anything.
Sure. Yep. So because of the space, I'm assuming that's why you don't have any livestock.
Yes. Yeah. And there's actually ordinances in our town.
That was my next question.
We could have chickens, but that we couldn't have hoofed animals or anything like that. It's just because of the size of the lot and everything. If we had, over an acre and a half, I think that might be allowed then. But, you need acreage for that around here.
Sure. And it's not that big of a deal to you that you're contemplating moving that just to have livestock.
Yeah. I mean, the livestock would be nice, but we have such busy lives right now with, the landscape business and we do a lot of traveling down to Puerto Rico. And we actually just purchased 100 acres in the northern Appalachian Mountains.
Dang, dude. Good for you.
And that could be a potential option for, full on homesteading, but we're talking a couple years down the road, once our kids get out of high school. And, but we like to be able to move around and like that freedom. We have 2 dogs, and it's always a challenge trying to find, someone to watch the dog, or you don't want to put them in the kennel because it's just not the same. They're in a cage most of the time. So luckily my parents are close enough that they can help out with the dogs and stuff. But Yeah, I would say because with the properties down in Puerto Rico, we like to go down there, you know, once every other month at the least. Try and get down there once every month, month and a half. And now with the property up in the mountains, um, you know, we'll be traveling up there doing stuff there as well. So,
Right. Damn, man. That's
eventually,
crazy.
yeah.
100 acres in Apple. Man, what can I ask what you paid for it?
We paid like 165.
What? That
Yeah.
seems like a crazy good deal. Am I like,
Yeah, so like the area is like I've been hunting in this area for 20 plus years, and that's been like my ultimate dream to have a property of my own where I can go hunt animals and
mm-hmm.
specifically white-tailed deer. I love white-tailed deer hunting, um,
Bow
and
or rifle?
both. I do both. I'll
Nice.
do like around my regular house is where I'll do my archery hunting because um, you can't hunt with a rifle in the area because it's just too built up. I'm too close to the city, too populated area.
Right.
But the further north you go, you can start using rifles and stuff, and that's why I've been going up there for 20 plus years. Um, and it's so the property that I bought, I've been hunting there 20 years, and that was always my dream to buy something to go hunt my own land. And I just kept I started looking, and I came across it, this property, and I was like, "Whoa, that's like super cheap for the land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go look at it." So I went, looked at it, and like just jumped on it. I was like, "We'll take it." Like, where do I sign? And because I saw that the mountain is loaded with deer. There's at least a dozen and a half deer on the property. I saw a coyote, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it's still something cool to see up close.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a bunch of turkeys, and the reason that the property was cheap was because it was logged, but it wasn't clear cut logged.
Oh, that's good.
So they came in and they took a lot of maple, oak, and cherry off of the property, but it's not like bare, and that's actually good for the wildlife because then the forest floor starts growing back up again with brambles.
Right.
Food attracts different types of animals, gives them cover.
Proper management. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's cool. That's awesome, dude.
yeah, and the property's more or less for recreation, for hunting and camping. Like we could have a large family gathering there if everybody brings their campers and stuff like that. So, but it's got river frontage, and all the logging trails are there, so you can basically drive all around the whole property in a heavy duty 4-wheel drive vehicle, or riding 4-wheelers and stuff like that, which me and my kids do.
Nice. That's
So,
awesome, man.
yeah.
So what would you say the best part about homesteading is?
So the best part, I would say, definitely spending time with my wife. We enjoy each other's company, and we work well as a team together too. Whether it's outside in the garden or inside, you know, preserving foods and stuff like that. We work very good as a team, get along really well, and have a lot of fun doing it. And making all the different kinds of foods. We don't buy spices from the store anymore. I have all the peppers and stuff. She'll make she'll cook. She's very creative with making dinners and stuff. So she'll combine spices and something that maybe we bought at the store. She'll recreate with all homemade stuff, which is like just
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We make spicy jellies, pickles, spicy pickles, uh,
I could go for
tomato,
that.
tomato sauce. Like we'll can the tomatoes for our base of sauce, and basically the only thing we have to put into it is tomato paste. And last year I said, well, let's figure out how to make tomato paste then, so it's like every year we pick up something new with it. And it's a lot of fun.
You ever sell any of your stuff, or is it just all, I'm going to keep this for me?
So last year, I tried to sell some stuff to like friends and whatnot, but I just didn't have quite the inventory for it. Sure. Like everybody loves the pickles that we make, and we usually just give the stuff away,
Okay.
To friends and stuff. But I said, well, let's try and turn this into a business. I'm always thinking of like the dollars of, what can I get out of this where maybe it at least pays for my hobby at the very least, So I did try selling a couple things last year, and there's a couple people in the BowTied community that I sold a couple jars to of my spices and everything. So, but I haven't gotten into like the massive production of it and all that. I mean, I think it would take a lot of work, and I don't know if I want to deal with the regulations and, the health department and all that stuff, having to come into my house and inspect my kitchen and, you know what I mean? So
that's why you just don't advertise.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm selling the jar, not the contents.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and another problem with COVID was during the whole COVID nonsense the last couple of years, it's been so hard to get mason jars.
Yeah.
It's been like so hard to find them. So if I could, and I think Farmer was telling me the same thing, for like honey and stuff like that.
The lids for sure. It was like something like I had heard from another podcaster. She had looked into why there's a shortage of ball jars, and it's like it was specifically the lids, and their sales were up like 4 times from the year before, or the demand was up 4 times or something like that. So it's like, okay, you can't just flip a switch and make 4 times as many lids as you were making. Like you're talking like a new facility at that point,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So yeah, you can't just turn up the machine 4x and go faster. So
yeah, and I think it's specifically with the lids, it was the wide mouth lids that you had a hard time finding. You could find the smaller lids, because they weren't being used quite as much. So,
right.
But yeah, and like if we would tell all of our friends, if you go to the store and you see lids or jars, grab them. We'll pay you whatever, Venmo you or PayPal.
Right. Yeah. So is it best to start a small garden or just go big? What would you suggest?
So I think if you're a complete novice, and basically know nothing about the gardening scene, that start small. Start some stuff in some pots. See what you want to grow. You definitely want to join like Facebook groups and online groups and stuff like that on Twitter or even TikTok and stuff, just to learn some stuff. But there's so much. It's overwhelming. There's so much information out there that it's hard for a beginner to kind of pick through. So you just kind of have to, read up on some stuff, watch some videos, and then kind of filter that information yourself with what and see what works and see what doesn't. It's always a learning game. Like every year I'm learning something new about, the garden or the soil or pests or, can't grow this here type of thing. So it's just a lot of experimentation. So I would say, if you're a beginner, it's best to start small. If you have the space, a little, 10 by 10 or 5 by 10 garden is plenty big to grow some tomato plants and, a couple pepper plants or something. And then you can always build on from that. So you'd hate to see you put all this time, effort, and money into something, and then realize like, oh crap, this is like way too much for me to handle. I'm getting burnt out, and actually I don't even like gardening now.
Yeah.
So like you kind of get burnt out and turned off from it. Um, so if you start small, you can always add on to it, and chances are you're always going to. Like I'm going to build a greenhouse as well. We just redid all the windows in our house last year, where that's going to be the next phase, later on this summer.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and with completely repurposed materials, which is awesome. But
that is pretty cool.
Yeah. So you're constantly going to want to do more. If you're enjoying it, you're going to want to build it bigger and keep, adding on year after year. So I think it's best to start small and then add on as you get better, more knowledge, and comfortable enjoying your garden.
Is there a couple of vegetables or, let's say, fruits that you would recommend people get started with? Like, okay, these are easy. It's kind of hard to screw up.
Yeah, I would definitely say like tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, like bell peppers. They're pretty easy to grow. Take minimal care. Like some of the super hot peppers that I grow, they can be kind of finicky, especially starting them. But everything that I grow, it seems fairly easy and fairly not maintenance free, but very limited maintenance to them. Some watering, some weeding in the bed, and picking the fruits and veggies when they're ripe. But definitely cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, they're real easy for a beginner. Don't take a lot of care or special care or anything like that. And I mean, I have like strawberries too. I mean, strawberries are super easy to grow. In fact, you're going to be trying to contain them that they're going to grow so much.
Right.
Like that's why I have them in a, like an herb table, because I don't want them spreading all over the place. Because from landscaping, I know all about wild strawberries and how much of a pain in the butt they are to weed out once they get established somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
strawberries are kind of crazy like that. Like we planted them our first year at this house, and like I did not like do anything for the winter. I just like left the garden bed uncovered, didn't do any weeding, nothing, and getting ready in like that following spring, I'm like, we have strawberries growing already. Like it was crazy how resilient they were, and just like,
yeah,
damn.
Well, and also like the amount of time that they produce fruits. I mean, you're going to get it from like, we're pulling strawberries, big ripe strawberries off of our plants now, and we have been for about a week now, and we'll get fruits off of them until first frost. Like we'll be sometimes well into late October, possibly even early November if it stays warm enough. So
sweet.
They're super easy. And then I have I transplanted some blueberry bushes from a friend's house. They were going to cut them down. I was like, oh, I'll come dig them up and plant them in my yard. And they took off. They're super low maintenance. Don't really have to do anything to them except cover them with netting so the birds don't get to it before I get to harvest them.
Right. Animals have a way of doing that. Like the day before you're gonna pick them, they're just like, nope.
Yeah. They're professional harvesters. They know when that stuff's ready.
That's true. That is true. It's literally how they survive. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and then I have some blackberry and raspberry bushes as well that are like super easy to grow.
How big do your blackberries get? Like the size of your thumb, or?
I would say probably about a half inch, 3/4 of an inch at the most. They don't get like too big. They've only been in
crazy big ones.
Yeah, they don't they've only been in a couple years, and they were kind of tucked in with the rest of the vegetable garden, so they were kind of getting crowded out. You know, and they spread underground too through the, you know, the stolons and roots and stuff like that. So I took them out of the veggie garden and put them actually in the landscape beds underneath my pear tree. So we'll see how they do this year.
Let's talk about this business model you and Bowtied Farmer are working on. So you got this Discord that you're putting together to help make better men, and you're calling it Building Kings. Can you tell me what that is, and like so far, what you guys have got so far?
Yeah, so we have a group chat on Twitter, and there's 10 of us in this group chat, and over the last 6-7 months, we've all become really good friends, you know, and it's been a completely organic building of a relationship between all of us together as a group. I don't think I've ever been in a group message before where it's like just constant. You're like everybody's talking in it, engaged, knows what's going on. You know, like we help each other out with personal situations, you know, advise on stuff, business stuff. And we're all varying ages. So, you know, some of us are in, you know, I'm in my 40s. Some of the guys are in their mid 30s, early 30s. Other ones are in their mid 20s. So it's a wide range of age for us all, but we're all kind of based in, you know, in our ideologies, I guess you would say, and just way of living. We want to be free men. We want to be sovereign men. You know, that we don't want to have to answer to other people, to a job, to, you know, the government, to, you know, societal pressure and all that. So we really like to put something together where, you know, we can kind of take all of our experiences, and help other guys, help other men, because men don't have an outlet, right? So like women, they talk to their friends, they go out and stuff like that, and guys do that too, but it's not like there's nowhere like if you're hanging out with your like my in real life friends, you know, like we'll hang out, we'll just kind of shoot the shit. We don't really dive into like our problems and our maybe issues and mental stuff that we're going through, where these guys that I know on, you know, strictly online, we all share stuff that, you know, we probably don't tell anybody else, you know, except for maybe our spouses. So it's nice to have that, you know, that outlet there where no one's judging you. It's kind of like a counseling session. I mean, it's really awesome. You know, and we all get something out of it. You know, everybody's got something to offer to the group, and, you know, to make us all better. I would say that I've improved greatly as a man, you know, just from talking with these guys, sharing our ideas, thoughts, feelings, experiences. So, and we'd like to share that with other men too. Like I said, there's no outlet for men really like that. You know, like sure you can go to therapy and you're gonna have to pay for it, and you know, maybe you're not going to be as honest with the therapist. Whereas if you're talking to a group of other guys that have been through something similar, like, oh, hey, this guy's been through this, so you know, I give him more, you know, validation than, you know, some shrink that I'm going to see or something. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
You just, you know, you can relate much more with that, in my opinion.
So then what's the business model, or is it still in development?
So it's still in development, and we're actually going to be having a meeting about it, a phone call on Discord, to kind of hash out some ideas and, you know, plans moving forward. So it's just, it's just in its infancy right now, but I would say by fall winter this year there'll definitely be something substantial being put out there and promoted and all that. And I think we're probably going to start promoting it towards the end of the summer here once we start get a couple of the basics
That's
built.
awesome.
So, but we were thinking maybe doing some sort of men's retreat, where they, with my, where we go out into the wilderness, spend a week or, 5 days out in the wilderness, learn how to start a fire, learn how to catch and, kill your own food, prepare it, that sort of thing. Basically like a mini survival course for men. But then you get like the mental help with it as well. Not mental help, but mental guidance, I guess you could say.
Sure.
No,
I get it. That's awesome, dude. I'm looking forward to seeing how that what all comes of that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. We're excited about it, and there's all this talk about the doom and gloom in society and where the economy's going, and making Wi-Fi money, so to speak, and at least in the crypto world, that's how they're speaking, and so this is kind of an opportunity for us to put our heads together and maybe make some money doing something we enjoy, and also helping other people out. Because the group of guys that I'm talking with, they're all very caring, individuals. Like, we don't want to see anybody suffer. We know hard times are probably coming, and if we can minimize that for some people, even if it's just one person, it's worth every bit of effort we could put into it.
Absolutely.
So, and that's kind of how all of us really live. Service to others, and with that comes good karma, and good things come back to you. So,
no, that sounds great. So let's, like, wrapping up here. You have a couple of different a couple of different social medias. Are you most active on Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter's where I'm at all the time. I just kind of grab the handles on the other platforms just to have them, so I could possibly expand. If I decided to, take a business that route or something like that, and I may do that with either YouTube or TikTok, with videos of like nature and stuff like that, because the mountain property that we just purchased. I plan on setting up cameras all over the place, and using some of that live, or some of that footage for videos and stuff like that. Because I was talking to a guy on Twitter, and he was talking about, there was this rain video on YouTube, sounds of rain, and you could basically pick any sound of rain that you wanted. It had like a couple 100 million views. Like, the guy makes $1 million a year just off of a recorded sound that he put with some video, and and I mean, he's just basically printing money in his sleep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of trail cams, did you see the photo going around Twitter recently about that owl that looked like it was attacking a deer?
No.
I think it was, what the heck is the account? Cowboying before it was cool. I think that was him.
Okay. I'll have to search that when we get off here.
Kind of crazy. Like, it's like the owl isn't quite at the deer yet, but like, I mean, it's within a foot of like its talons getting the deer. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But so yeah, BowTied. I see it's BowTied Fall Guy on Twitter.
Yes,
the actual at BowTied Fall Guy. But
yes, yeah, that's my
okay.
that's my Twitter handle, because BowTiedScapeGoat wouldn't fit in there, and I'm too stupid
What?
to abbreviate the Bowtied Scapegoat so it matches. But
Sure.
you know, Bowtied Scapegoat, Fall Guy, they go hand in hand, and it goes with my theme of landscaping and that sort of thing. So
Sure.
but
Well, hey man, I got a couple more things after we wrap up, and I appreciate you giving me your time tonight. Been awesome.
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, Matt. It's been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun tonight, and got to talk about some things I like to do. So I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd love to have you come back on and see where you're at in a year or two. So
Yeah, absolutely. Love to do it.
good interview with Bowtied Scapegoat. Great connection to ask about producing more food in the same amount of space and different landscaping tips and tricks. Follow him on Twitter. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and most importantly, share this video. Check out our website, FarmHopLife.com. There you can sign up for our email list or Telegram channel to be notified when new videos, interviews, and podcasts are available. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, MeWe, and Float. So send me a message, farmhoplife.com/contact, or email me anytime, matt@farmhoplife.com. It's the same. I'm always looking for new people to interview. If you'd like to come on to talk about homesteading, farming, food security, homeschooling, regenerative agriculture, alternative building methods, or anything else, pitch me an idea. Go to farmhoplife.com/guest. Go feed yourself.
Inside of the city, the people are crazy, out of their minds, they ain't got a clue. We gone away, headed west for Montana, left family and friends, all I got now is you. We both got new jobs, a house and a homestead, thinking this was the life, all that there'd be. After our firstborn, you had to stay home. That's when the work got in the way for me. Well, I started Farm Hop Life. We'll come to your farm to help and to wander. Me and the family, a truck and an RV. Send us a message and there will